Hey everybody, this is Greg Gossett from Gossett Trading and Mentoring Live, and today is Friday, October 9th, 2020. We are in the final day of the trading week, and we are in the final hour of the trading day. Hope you're having a good day. I prefer to make the majority of my buying and selling decisions based upon the closing price and making the trade right in the last few minutes. During the day, you have the algorithms, you have the day traders. They're the ones that are in control of the price. At the end of the day, the large financial institutions come in with size. They are dealing with a lot of money. They're buying and selling lots of stock, and they take control away of the pricing control away from the day traders and the algorithms. I consider them to be the smart money, and I prefer to make my buying and selling decisions based upon what they are doing at the end of the day. So hope everyone is doing well. Hope you're having a good day. I appreciate you coming here. I always like seeing everybody. I'm so grateful that we have such a great group, and I hope that by spending your time here and investing your time here, it's helping with your trading. So the market is up. We're up across the board. The Dow Jones is up 134 points, up 0.47%. The NASDAQ is up 129.5 points, up 1.13, and the S&P is up 25.87, up 0.75%. So nice disclaimer. We're going to come back, take a look at my current positions, talk about when I bought them, why I bought them, how I'm going to manage them moving forward. I did have some day trades today. I'm going to share those with you. After that, we're going to go over to the watch list, not the watch list, but the board of your positions. We're going to go through those. I see some nice green positions over there, so fantastic. Glad to see that. And we're going to go through each one and see how everybody's doing on their trades. Then we're going to talk about trader psychology. Important to be able to understand technicals. It really is support, resistance, entries, exits, indicators, but you learn that so that you can put together a plan. After that, you have to follow the plan, and that's where the real challenge comes. That's when the real work comes, because you're always dealing and battling with the two emotions, fear and greed. And so, in my opinion, the best way to be a long-term profitable trader, everybody, is come up with a decent trade plan. Doesn't have to be super complicated. It just has to incorporate good trading principles. And then the key is you have to follow it. So I do like to touch upon trader psychology, following your plan, good trading words of wisdom during the middle part of the podcast. It's good for me, and I hope it's good for you. After that, I have gone down through my watch list. I've gone down through the results of Kamal's scanner. And I do have 3 requirements before I look to enter any trade. You know what they are. First, look for a confluence or combination of indicators lining up ideally on multiple time frames. Number 2, if you find a good confluence of indicators lining up on multiple time frames, you still have to analyze it, put it in context, see if the risk to reward makes sense. Is it chasey? Kamal and I always refer to stocks that have moved up too fast chasey. Yes, the signals are there, but is the risk to reward there? Is it a little chasey, right? And then number 3, always keep in mind how many positions you have, how much account heat you have, how many correlated positions you have. It's great if you have correlated positions and they all move up, but it's not so great if they move down. In an ideal world, all of my positions would be completely uncorrelated in different industries, even outside of equities like gold, bonds, silver, oil. And on top of that, diversification in your setups and your strategies is also great. I like to have one deep dip buy. I'd like to have a moving average crossover. I'd like to have a return to value, V1, V2. Sometimes that doesn't always happen, but in an ideal world. So those are the 3 requirements. I'm going to go through the potentials. If at the end of the day I find something that looks good, I'm going to take a fine-tooth comb to the end-of-day candidates, go through them very carefully, look at multiple time frames, look for risk to rewards, look for confluence of signals, and if I find something at the end of the day, I will go ahead and place the trade before the market closes. And if I don't see anything that looks good, then I just won't take any trades, okay? And then after the market closes, if you have any questions for me, please let me know. I'm happy to answer them. If you need clarification on anything, please let me know. If you have any stock symbols that you'd like me to look at while the market's open, put them in the chat, but please put an asterisk by it so that I know that it's time sensitive, and I'll do my best to get to it. And then after the market closes, if you have any new additions or subtractions to your positions today, if you could wait till the market closes before you let me know. That way the pressure's off, market's closed, I'm done teaching, I'm done trading, and then we'll get them all taken care of. Okay, so that is the plan. Hold tight. I'm going to run the U.S. legal disclaimer, and I will be back in 40 seconds. Thanks. This video or live broadcast, like all instructional materials produced by Gossett Trading and Mentoring LLC, is created and published for informational and educational purposes only. Please carefully read and/or listen to the U.S. government required disclaimer before watching this video or live stream broadcast. The video link and disclaimer text are located in the description section of this video or live broadcast, here and here. Thank you so much. All right, let me see. I've had my microphone on. Yes, I do. Hey, let's see who's here. Brian is here. Hey, Brian M., good to see you. Hello to you. Hope you're having a good day. Kamal is here. Hey, Greg and gang. Hey, Kamal, good to see you, my friend. Johan is also here. Hello, Johan. Good to see you. Hope you're having a nice evening. Dan is here. Happy Friday. Stephen Burns is here. Steve, thank you as always for coming. It's always an honor and a privilege to have you here. It really is. To have you in the chat with us is just a big deal for me every day. It really is, and I know it is for everyone else, so thank you. And also, thank you so much for including me on your list today on Twitter. That's always appreciated. Steve says, Trump raises Corona stimulus offer to 1.8 trillion, about 400 billion less than the Dems bill, from CNBC. So they're horse trading a little bit, right? Well, a lot of this rally has to do with that. So is it going to go through or not? I don't know. I imagine it will, but what do I know, right? We just have to trade price action. That's the key. Hey, Frank, good to see you, bud. Frank says, hello, Greg and group. Hello, Frank. Miko25. Hey, Greg and all. Hello, Miko. Good to see you. David is here. Hey, David. Hope you're doing well. Hi, Greg and group. David says. Gary M says, hello, Greg and group. Hello, Gary. Good to see you. All right. Well, let's get started. Well, Facebook decided not to join the tech party today. Bummer. Frank and Quad and Kamal and Gary and Johan and Yas and myself did buy it yesterday with this false breakout to the downside, V2. I bought it at 263.89. It is 262.99, so it's down 75 cents. It's down 0.28%, which isn't a big deal, but it's a big deal, not a big deal, but it's concerning that Facebook is down when the rest of the market's up. Right now we're at a 50.43 RSI. If this closes below the 50 RSI, I will consider a warning sign and I will take half of my position off. If it closes above the 50 RSI, I will just go ahead and keep it. So we'll see how this ends up near the end of the day, but kind of disappointing that this didn't go up today with the rest of the market. Goldman Sachs, all right. I did buy Goldman Sachs here at 199.94 when we had the 520 crossover. Steve bought yesterday with the 1030 EMA crossover and also the 1050 EMA crossover. Let's see. Steve bought at 207.86. Zach bought at 207.83. It is 208.02.01. So not up much. It's up 3 cents today, but it looks like we are all in the money on the trade. You see this orange line here. This means that it has moved more than 1.5 ATRs from my entry, which means the worst I could do on this trade, theoretically, is a break-even trade. Now that I've moved 1.5 ATRs from my entry, if I do get a close below the previous day's low, I will take off half. If Monday it just goes down right to my entry point, I will get out at break even. But it's always a nice feeling. It's always a relief whenever I have a trade and it gets to that 1.5 entry point, because that means most likely the worst I can do on the trade is break even, and very likely it will be a positive trade. But up a little bit today, and Steve and Zach and myself up on the trade so far, so that's good. Coca-Cola, Gary, Kamal, Frank, Johan, Yas, and myself, we did buy Coca-Cola back here at 49.63. We had a nice fractal. We also had a V2. We had a close back over the 50 RSI. And then it was followed by a 520 crossover. This has been a great trade so far. I did hit one profit target today at 50.90. It's at 50.91. Second profit target up here has not got there. Got close, but this one's doing fine. You can see the orange line here. That is my 1.5 break-even ATR level. So again, with Coca-Cola, if I now get a close below the previous day's low, I would get out of half position and lock in profits. The worst I could do now, barring some big gap overnight, would be break even. So again, whenever it gets to that level, I'm always very thankful, and it's a nice relief, because now I know the worst I can do is break even, and not really break even, make money, because I hit profit targets and locked in profits already on the way up. SPY. Real quick, I do buy the SPY ETF, SPY, every day at the close. I hold it overnight. I take the overnight risk. That's where I feel like the edge is in this approach, by taking the overnight risk. You get paid to take risk, just like an insurance company gets paid to take risk. And so this is a back-tested study from Liz Ann Saunders since 1993. She's Abby Spoke Invest. Since 1993, they tested two approaches. First approach, buy the SPY at the open, hold it through the day, sell at the close. This approach, done every day since 1993, returned a negative 13.9%. However, the opposite, this is the one that I use, buy the SPY at the close, hold it overnight, again, take the overnight risk, sell first thing the next morning. This, done every day since 1993, returned a positive 634.2% return. Past performance is no guarantee of future results, does not mean it's going to work in the future, but if you're going to allocate money towards a trade, I would prefer it to be towards something that has good back-tested results, good back-tested numbers. The blue line is the buy the close, hold overnight, sell in the morning. You can see over time, all it's done is gone up. Orange line, buy the open, sell the close, all it's done is gone sideways and actually down. So, if you're considering using this approach, please use a conservative position size. I allocate, somewhere between 5 and 10% of my trading capital to this particular trade. And when I say 5 to 10%, I don't mean that's my loss. That's my total capital that I'm using to buy the trade. You can see over time, it has just gone up, but there are significant drawdowns, just like with any trading approach. So please keep that in mind. It's not just a super easy approach that always makes money. It is definitely not. That being said, I did buy the SPY yesterday at 343.78, and I had a nice overnight gap up to 345.53. So bought at 343.78, got out at 345.53. So nice overnight gap. We're at 60 RSI. Not that this matters with this approach, but we are getting extended. And I do want to point out, see the gap we have here, which I'm glad because I had it. Well, here's a gap, here's a gap, here's a gap. Whenever you start getting a lot of gaps in a row, the market kind of tends to want to fill those. So that's always a concern. The way that I'm looking at the market right now, we have a bunch of gap ups, and normally the market wants to come back down, fill those gaps, test those gaps. But I guess that's a bit on a different subject, but since I see it here, I did want to point it out. But nice overnight trade. I will be buying that again at the close. Dan, Brian, and myself, this is a second SPY trade I took with the 1050 EMA crossover. I bought it at 333.82 with the crossover. It has moved up nicely, just beautifully. I did hit another profit target. Again, this is a separate trade. I hit another profit target today at 346.46. So this little trade so far up about 3.65%. So not too bad. It has moved more than 1.5 ATRs for my entry. So if I do get a close below the previous day's low, again, I will sell half of whatever I have left because I am phasing out. So every time I phase out, I have reduced shares, but I'll take whatever I have left at the moment, at that moment, if I get a close below the previous day's low, and I'll sell half my position. Okay, Apple. I always forget this. Frank is in at Apple at 111 even. It is now 116.30, so he's up $5.30 on the trade. Quad and Gary bought Apple at 116.31, and it's 116.31. So dead even there. So that's definitely better than a loss. I do have a bullish position in Apple, but I expressed it in selling puts, selling premium, which is a bullish position. I picked the $77.50 strike price. So if the price closes above $77.50 by November 20th, I'll be able to keep all the premium that I received by selling this. I like to sell premium, I like to sell puts, but only when the market goes down strong and the premium increases. So I did it back in here when the premium increased, and now the price has gone up, obviously, which means my puts are in the money. They're in the money between 60 and 65%. But you might ask, why did you pick the $77.50 strike price? Because of on the daily, I have the 200 and the 250 above it, which doesn't mean it's going to hold there, but it's something to key off of. And then I also like to look in multiple time frames, just not on the weekly, on the daily, but also on the weekly. The weekly, the 77.50 lines up nicely with that negative third ATR channel. 92% of prices hold here. Also has the 50-week moving average above it. And on the monthly, I have support of this previous high over here. I have support of the 1 ATR channel, and I have support of the 20-month EMA. So just because that 77.50 price lines up nicely on 3 time frames doesn't mean it has to hold. But again, it's an educated guess based upon multiple time frames and support. So that's how I like to sell premium. But anyway, doing really well. And hey, now Quad and Gary are up in the money on the trade. Good for you guys. Okay, so those are my positions. Nice screen day today. I did have a few day trades, 3 day trades on Disney. So let me take you back to the first one. The first one was a loser. But, the key with trading, everybody, day trading or any kind of trading is make your best educated guess depending on the setup. And if you're wrong, get out quickly. I bought here, this is the 5-minute, had a V1, false breakout to the downside. I bought at 123.62. It went up just perfectly and then came down. And it closed below halfway of the washout bar. So I got in at 123.62. I got out at 123.57. So I lost 5 cents on that trade, which, it's a bummer, but it's a small loss, right? You can recover from that. And I did. Let me get rid of these lines here. And it was the very next bar. You can see I got out of the first losing trade here, but just because you get out of a losing trade, if you get another signal, I'm just programmed to take it. Here we had very similar. We had a false breakout to the downside. We actually had a V1. I entered here intra-bar at 123.70. Look at the volume that we had on this trade. So, this was a big rejection and a big thrust up. I bought here at 123.70. Moved up nicely, moved up nicely, moved up nicely. Here, I got out of half my position because we had a V1 to the downside and we rejected the negative third ATR channel. So I got out of half here at 124.69. Then we had a close below the previous day's low. I locked in the rest of the profits. So I got in at 123.70. I got out of half at 124.47, and I got out of half at 124.69. It's pretty good, right? So let's take these off the board. Feels good to not speak for a second. All right. Then I decided I was in a short mood. So I did short Walt Disney. We had this big V1 rejection kind of climax reversal bar. I didn't short it then. I don't like to, I usually don't like to short that first move down. I like to see it move down and then attempt to move back up. Here we got stuck right at the 50% mark, but I waited one more bar and then we had the V1 to the downside. Rejected the 70 again, also rejected the third ATR channel. I shorted at 125.29, moved down nicely. It got to my 1.5 break even mark. So if it went back to my entry point, I would have gotten out. You can see it got close, but it held. And then on this bar, I just got tired of it and I covered. So I shorted at 125.29 and I got out at 125.08. So made 21 cents on that trade. So all in all, pretty good day trades. I was telling Kamal, my record for days in a row, profitable days in a row on day trading is 10. Yesterday, I made my 8th positive day in a row day trading. I'm positive today, so that's 9. So Monday, I might be able to tie my all-time best, and if I do, then I can go for a personal best of 11 straight days on Tuesday. But we'll see. But I'm very, very, very happy with 9 straight days in a row. Excuse me. Okay. Steve says, there is a 1030 EMA crossover on Amazon today. I will be buying it. Okay, I have that. I saw that, and I have that on the list. So we're definitely going to go through that and take a look at that, Steve. But thanks for letting us know. Steve says gold very close to a 520 EMA crossover. I saw that as well. That is on my list to take a look at. Steve says Monster has a 520 EMA crossover today. That's another good back-tested approach. Kamal says, Johan, my stop loss on CNK is below 8.42. It did not do a Cody. Kamal says, I am long workhorse, 24.28. Yep, I'm just about to go through that. Kamal says, Greg, your throat has been weird for 2 to 3 days now. Can you please check your smell? Yeah, I can smell. Yep, I can smell, I think, right? Yeah, I can smell. Thanks though, bud. Steve says, I'm long Amazon. Okay, so I will put that up on the board. Frank has a poem for us. Thank you, Frank. There's plenty of wealth sitting in stocks awaiting to be unbound. Not that it's easy or doesn't confound. But traders are bloodhounds. They learn how to hunt, and that's how they stay ahead and out front. So good. Always so good. I say it's so good every day, but I sincerely mean it. Let's try that one more time. There's plenty of wealth sitting in stocks awaiting to be unbound. Not that it's easy or doesn't confound, but traders are bloodhounds. They learn how to hunt, and that's how they stay ahead and out front. So true. When I studied with Larry Williams, I always remember Larry Williams saying there's a sea of money out there. There's a sea of money for the picking. If you're just patient, wait for the setups. As a matter of fact, I was listening to a presentation that Larry Williams did, kind of interesting. And he's big into cycles. He's big into seasonality. And, he went back on the presidential elections. And a large majority of the time, if the market right before the election is higher than it was in September, then that means the Republicans will usually win. If the market is lower than it was in September, that means that the Democrats are going to win. Not every single time, keep in mind, right? But anyway, pretty interesting. That's what I love about Larry Williams. He has all these seasonality and kind of stock trader almanac kind of stuff. But I guess I should look. September. Well, we are higher than September right now, but again, it's right before the election, so who knows? Mark says, think markets are closed on Monday. Are they closed on Monday? Would somebody let me know? I'm always really bad at holidays. Could somebody double check that? Johan says, Kamal, same stop for CNK here. Also bought Workhorse. Steve says, the New York Stock Exchange NASDAQ will be open regular on Columbus Day. It is a federal holiday when stocks continue to trade, October 12th. Okay. So it is open then, Steve? I guess that's all right. Let's take a look at your positions here. Look at this. Kamal, and I just noticed Johan bought at 23. Okay, well, okay. So let's put Johan here at 23.81. All right. So look at this trade, everybody. You know, this is the advantage of taking a V1 or V2 intraday. Sometimes it works for you, sometimes it works against you. But this trade, look, they took it when it went, when this V2 triggered here. Kamal bought it at 24.48. Johan bought it at 23.81 intraday. Look at this beautiful day trade. This thing is up 8.71, probably up about 9% for Johan. So congratulations, Kamal and Johan. Wow. Unbelievable. Kamal and I had been talking about this, and I didn't even know he had it till I looked back and said, hey, I bought it here. Beautiful trade, you two. Excellent, excellent. Okay, CNK. Kamal and Johan both bought Cinemark. They bought it at, I want to say Cinnabon, $8.78. It is down 30 cents today. It's down 3.42. And so 842 is your stop, Kamal, right? 842. So this one's down on the day. This one's down on the trade, but glad you two made it up and more on the workhouse trade. Dexcom. Johan bought Dexcom at 393.10. Currently it's 387.11, down 10%. You know, if you remember correctly, Johan, not to say that I told you so, because I totally didn't know, but that's what I was concerned of. Yes, we had a double bottom here, but I felt like we would rally and then come back down. That's why generally it was a little chasey, right? I was just talking about chasey. Now a higher low V1, V2 after a double bottom. I mean, I hope this goes back up for you, bud. I really do. But I just wanted to point that out, that it seemed a little chasey to me. It could have continued up, but most of the time these lower lows go up a day or two and fail. And then if you can get another group of buyers coming in here, to me, that's the best place to buy it. So sorry this is down for you, bud, but I just did want to point that out. QLD. All right, Yas and Steve bought QLD with the 530 EMA crossover, and it is up beautifully. It is up 2.82% just today. And so Yas and Steve are up 3.34% on this trade in 2 days. So fantastic. Congratulations. Steve bought IWB with the 530 SMA crossover, bought it at 191.18. It is now 194.41. And so Steve is up 1.72 on that trade. Congratulations, Steve. Way to go. Walmart. Brian bought Walmart back here at 140.69. We are now 142.78, up an even percent. Oh, 0.99%, 0.98%. But up on the day and up on the trade. So very nice, Brian. AQN. Glenn / Mark bought AQN at 15.29. It is 15.67, up 0.45% today. So nicely up on the trade, nicely up on the day. Amazon, Glenn bought Amazon, Glenn, and I'm not sure exactly where. I have a feeling it was back here at 29.61. I think so. It is now 32.83. Amazon is up 2.9% today. So very, very nice. Beautiful there. Google, Gary sold puts on Google down to $1,200, expiring November 20th. It is now 15.11, so he has $311 protection. He sold it down here when the volatility was high, so he got a lot of premium. So it is up nicely today. That's great for his puts. He's got to have about 60% of his premium. LVGO, Frank bought LVGO back here at, oh, give me 1 second. 32.50. It went up, came back down. He sold half for a profit, but this has moved up nicely since then. It is down a little bit today, but still nicely up on the trade. Chewy, way to go, Quad bought Chewy here at 58.92. Nice fractal breakout, consolidated, big up bar today, up 5.1%. So that is beautiful. CRM, Brian bought CRM at 251.20. It is now 265.29. So this has been an outstanding trade, up on the day, up on the trade. Alibaba, Johan bought Alibaba at 276.70. It is now 300.12, down just a little bit today, but up 7.77. Hey, how about that, Johan? Johan flies 777s. Hey, that must be a sign. Perfect. Cody. Well, I guess Cody couldn't go up forever, but boy, a lot of you had a great trade on this. This was just a monster. This went up. How far did this go up? About 29% at yesterday's close. I'm glad David sold half yesterday. It's always a good idea, you know, when you have a big monster win. I always like to take a little bit off just in case. It is down 5.35% today, but I'm sure David's not too bummed out about it, and I'm sure he's very glad that he sold half yesterday. All right, Intel, Gary, the put seller, did sell November 20th 45.40 puts. This is down today, but as long as it stays above $45 by November 20th, he will be able to keep all the premium. And then lastly, Gary bought calls on Exxon. He bought November 30th and November 20, $35 strike calls. So it's going to have to be above $35 plus the time premium that he paid in order to make money. He bought them for $186 a contract. So down today, but we have until November 20th for that to, before we'll know the results of that. Let me take a look here at something. Oh yeah, Disney really came down, didn't it? Okay. Karen, how are you doing, Karen? I've been waiting back to hear back from you. I did send you an email, but it's nice to see you. Thank you for coming. Hello, have been trying to post, but YouTube made me set up a channel to do so. Has that happened to anyone? I think you have to be signed in to post, but nice to see you. Karen says, Mark, TSX will be closed at his Canadian Thanksgiving on Monday. Sold the rest of Cody this morning. Okay, great. And Karen, yes. All right. All right. Well, listen, before we start going through the watch list, before we look for some end of day trades, As you know, I like to do a few minutes on some good Facebook and Twitter posts regarding trading that I see during the day. And this is from our good friend Stephen Burns, who's in the chat with us right now. This is over at the New Traders, Rich Traders channel over on Facebook. Really good channel, really good information. If you haven't applied to that channel, you should apply. You have to apply to it. But I would suggest it. It's a great channel. I love this post. You need a full trading system with a watch list, position sizing, and signals for maximum gains and minimizing losses. Technical analysis alone is not a trading system. So true, everybody. You know, you have to have the complete package. You have to have a complete plan. It's not just buy and sell signals. I mean, that's like the last thing I look for. I mean, I look for it, but then I have to go back and reverse engineer it because, you know, like Steve says, you need a full trading system with a watch list of good stocks, position sizing, which, you know, I talk a lot about. I don't think people talk about position sizing enough, and especially position sizing taking into account what the volatility is, or in other words, how much sometimes the bars don't move very much. They move up a little, down a little. At that time, you buy more shares. If they move way up and way down, there's lots of volatility, then you need to reduce your position size so you can standardize your maximum loss. So that's the least thing I hear trading teachers talk about, or traders in general, is adjusting for volatility. To me, it's the most important thing. Adjust for see what the volatility is, adjust your position size correctly, and then signals for maximizing gains and minimizing losses. You have to have a construct. You have to have levels. You have to have your line in the sand, right? So technical analysis alone is not a trading system. It's not. It's a part of a trading system, right? It's just part, but the most important part is having a good watch list, good stocks, position size based upon volatility, and then looking for valid signals, valid triggers that help you minimize gains and minimize losses, right? Like 200-day moving average, RSI levels, keying off those. You don't know if you're going to be right or not, but if you're right, you can be right big. If you're wrong, you can be wrong small, ideally. Right? So you need a full trading system with a watch list, position size, and signals for maximizing gains and minimizing losses. Technical analysis alone is not a trading system. So keep that in mind, everybody. You know, they call it a trading plan for a reason. It's a plan that has different components to it. It's like a puzzle. There's just not one puzzle piece. There's lots of different puzzle pieces that come together to make the puzzle. So I hope that makes sense. But thanks for that great post, Steve. That is 5 stars there for sure. Dan says, I want to apply someday, but I need how to learn to set up an account. Oh, are you talking about setting up a YouTube channel? Steve says, thanks, Greg, for sharing. That is something I tell people in messages several times a day, every day. I would imagine. I would imagine. You told me. Steve says, we are the casino. That's right. That is correct. Okay, let me just take a quick look at current positions before. Oh, Facebook did decide to go positive. Oh, as soon as I said that, I went back negative. There, it's positive again. Fantastic. All right. As long as this holds above 50 RSI, I will keep it. Goldman Sachs is red today, but still nicely positive. Coca-Cola well off of its high. Did hit one profit target here. The SPY, of course, buying that. Had the nice overnight SPY trade, buying that again at the close. Qs, been a great trade on the Qs. Did hit one profit target today up there. So that one is just steady as she goes. Apple sold the puts, so I want things to go up. Boy, Apple had a nice rally. Look at that V1 there, bullish engulfing bar. And that really was the signal right there, wasn't it? If you were day trading. All right. Just take a look at something here. Okay, as Steve mentioned before, the 520 cross is getting pretty close on gold. I don't think it's going to make it. It's going to have to go up a lot more. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you exactly where it has to go before that crossover occurs. It's going to have to get to 182.06 in order for that crossover to occur today. So hopefully that will be helpful if you're watching that. But it's going to have to go up quite a bit more in order for that 520. I would prefer not to buy it. It's a little chasey. I'd like to see it calm down for a day or two or move sideways a little bit and then have the 520 crossover maybe at a little lower space. If it keeps going up or even kind of slightly goes up, moves sideways, that 520 will happen. But MACD went positive today. Big gap here. So gold finally caught a bid, but if the 5 does not cross over the 20, it's not a valid signal for me yet. Amazon. All right, Steve talked about Amazon. He's buying Amazon based upon the 1030 EMA crossover. And you can see clearly on the 1030 chart, it did cross over today. So I have a rule for myself that if I cannot take a crossover, if it is basically at the second ATR channel. We're right there. Doesn't mean this can't go up, and I hope it goes up for Steve, but I just have a rule in place for me that says if I have a crossover, in this case, a 1030 crossover, and it's at the second ATR channel, that I'm just going to have to pass on the trade. So I am going to have to pass on the trade. Plus, I have a bunch of other positions, NASDAQ position. I have a lot of puts that I sold on Apple, so I'm going to just be a little conservative there. Amazon's a big mover. So anyway, congratulations, Steve. Good luck on that trade. And yes, it is a valid 1030 EMA crossover, but I just have some personal filters that I use, and it's right there at the second. So I'm gonna have to pass on that one. Love, which is Southwest Airlines, looks like it's closing above the 200-day moving average. Looks like MACD is very close. Well, it is. It did cross over. Let's see, 34.34, 34.59. So it did cross over. I tried to back test this and I could not get results on this. So I think I'm just going to let this one go. DBX has a nice strong close above the 200-day moving average and the 50 moving average. Again, I tried to back test this, but did not pull up on my back test. Did trigger a fractal. Here's a high with 2 lower highs to the left and 2 lower highs to the right. So we did trigger a fractal today. We did have a close above the 50-day moving average and the 200-day moving average. Let's look over on the weekly. I mean, it's back in the value zone. It's right in the middle of all this resistance here. Doesn't mean it can't go up, but I think I'm going to pass on that as well. And then Workhorse, I mean, this is pretty tempting here because it's a beautiful higher low V2. Here's day one, here's day two. Day two washed out day one. Day three certainly is going to close above day one's close. It's up 12% today. It also had a 520 crossover, which doesn't backtest well. Kamal ran the scan for me earlier. Let's look over on the weekly. On the weekly, we're getting real close to that third ATR channel above. So again, I think I'm just going to pass on all those trades, to be honest with you, and just keep what I have. It's been a really good week. One of my best weeks in a long time. So I'm definitely grateful for that. But I mean, this is valid. We've triggered a fractal this high with 2 lower highs to the left, 2 lower highs to the right, and a V2. I mean, where Kamal and Johan bought it, absolutely fantastic. But to chase up here, and honestly, is it chasey? Yeah, I would consider it chasey. I would consider it chasey. It wasn't chasey when Kamal and Johan bought it down here, because then the risk to reward makes sense. And this is a perfect example of, if they were wrong, they were going to be wrong maybe this much. If they're right, you know, I have a feeling this is going to go up to the 1 ATR channel. I mean, I don't know that for sure, but what I've noticed is whenever you have a bar that's larger than 1 ATR that comes into the value zone, it usually goes to at least the top. So I think there's room in here, but it is chasey. It's up 12.79%. Let's see, how much are you guys up right now? 8.36%. That's fantastic. And Johan's pretty close to 9. So I honestly don't see anything here that really interests me today. It doesn't happen often, but it is happening now. So I think I'm going to buy the overnight SPY trade. So that's something, right? And I already have the SPY in another trade, the crossover trade. I already have the Qs, right? So I am pretty loaded up here on stuff. But Facebook did go positive for us. That's good. Goldman Sachs, that's rude that you're red today. Coke, it's doing fine. Off its high, but doing fine. Gonna buy the SPY at the close. The Qs are doing really great. Apple's doing really great. And Disney was my day trade. Mark says, thoughts on BLDP? BLDP. Ballard Power Systems. Well, nice big move today, Mark, for sure. It's a V2. Here is day 1. Here is day 2. Here is day 3. Day 2 washed out day 1. Day 3 closed above day 1's close, but it's a 66.38 RSI. We're right here at the third ATR channel. As you've heard me say a million times, 92% of prices fail right about this area. So doesn't mean it can't go up. But for me, the way that I trade, I'm not really that much of a momentum trader, and this is more of a momentum trade here. So it's not something I would take. Doesn't mean it can't go up, but it's not something I would take just by the fact that we're close to the 70 RSI and we're right here at the third ATR channel. Kamal says Workhorse had 70 RSI rejection on the weekly. Yes, it did. Good eye. Which is something to consider, Kamal, you know. I mean, we're at the 70 RSI on the weekly, and we're kind of close to that third ATR channel. That third ATR channel is now resistance above us, or above you. So something to consider. Well, I got done a little quick, didn't I? But again, I just don't see anything here that I'm wanting to take. Gold is not going to have the 520 crossover. Amazon, Steve took that, so we know that. That looks like it's in the money, I think. Where did Steve buy it? Okay, he bought Monster. But Steve bought Amazon. Oh, 32.83.02. So it's 32.84.04. So he's in the money already. How about that? Nice going, Steve. So Steve's long Monster with the 1050 EMA cross. So this is a 1050 right here. Yes, there it is. Well, I'll tell you what. I didn't look at Monster. This looks good. I mean, it has a crossover. It's in the value zone. So I will join you, Steve, with Monster. So let me... do the numbers on this. Thanks for pointing that out, Steve. On my list, I didn't see anything. Okay, so that's telling me how many shares to buy. And again, I take my maximum loss, allowed loss. I divide the value of the 2 ATR into it. It's $3.76. And that tells me exactly how many shares to buy. And it takes into account the volatility. And yes, it has a 1050 EMA crossover. It's right here in the value zone. MACD crossed over. Makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. So I too, near the end of the day, will buy Monster because of the 1050 EMA crossover, MACD crossover, under 50, over 50, and smack back down here in the value zone, which I like it here. I didn't like Amazon as much, you know, because it's so high up there, but that's just a rule that I follow myself. So I will be buying Monster Energy today, MNST. Looks like Apple's making a new high on the day. So that's good for Quad, Frank, and Gary, and my puts. Gary's in Monster as well. Okay. After the market closes, I will get those all taken care of. Wow, this is like the first day in months and months that I've had this much time before the end. So if there's anything else you want me to look at, just let me know. We have 5 minutes before the weekend. Facebook is trying to get up there on the green side. Goldman Sachs not cooperating today. Coca-Cola gave about half of its gain back from yesterday's close. Q's looks like, with any luck, I'll hit a second profit target up there. That's going to be $2 more away though. But one can dream, right? Yas is in Monster. Good, good. Frank says, thoughts on GRWG. GRWG. Grow generation. You know, Frank, to me, honestly, it looks a little bearish. We gapped up. We are now higher than yesterday's close, but we are lower than today's low with the rejection of the second ATR channel. So, you know, that's not particularly bullish. I mean, it's up, but you can have an up bar that's still bearish, right? But no, I just don't see anything on this that I like. Zach says, Greg, I think he's a great guy. Fantastic teacher. Thank you, Zach. Appreciate that, sir. Yeah, says, I'm in Monster even though I am not into monster things. Gotcha. Gotcha. Well, if you're into energy drinks, then you are in the right spot. Q's making high on the day. So I'm just going to hang out and just wait till right before the market closes before I buy my little monster. It's coming on the 5 minutes, coming back into the value zone, so that's good. Here, let me get this keyed up then. Okay, I position sized, which is good. Q's making a high on the day. Apple make a high on the day. Amazon making a high on the day. Congratulations, Steve. QLD making a high on the day. Congratulations, Steve. Q's making a high on the day. Congratulations, me. Monster only has a 1 cent bid-ask spread, so that's good. So 1 minute to go. With about 30 seconds, I'm going to pull the trigger on Monster. All right. Ooh, that was close with 2 seconds to go on that last one. All right. Well, great day today, everybody. Fantastic. Great week, too. Very grateful for that. Good trading day. My 9th trading day in a row for positive day trades. So I'll see if I can get my tie my personal best on Monday. All right. So let's take a look here and see where I got everything. So I bought SPY at 346.85 and I bought Monster at 80.97. So SPY new overnight SPY trade is at 346.85. A lot of gaps. 1, 2, 3, which means I had 3 good days in a row on the overnight SPY trade, but I'm concerned that we're going to fill these gaps. May not be for a while. We might get 5 or 6 gaps before they fill, but I have a feeling eventually they will fill. So that's always one thing to look out for, is a lot of gaps to the upside or the downside. And then Monster. I bought Monster at 80.97. Okay, and I know a few of you have those, so I'm going to update those. Okay, so listen, before I get those updated, and if you have any new additions or subtractions, please put them in the live stream chat, and I will get them updated. But just real quick, just want to remind everybody that I do teach private lessons in the evening time via Skype, private one-on-one lessons. I think it's the very, very best way to learn trading, or anything for that matter. But I do offer a course. It's 5 sessions. Each session is 3 hours. It's a total of 15 hours. So it's long form, one-on-one teaching. I've been trading for over 24 years. I've had fantastic teachers and mentors and one-on-one teachers myself, like Stephen Burns, Carrie Lavorne, Dr. Alexander Elder, and Larry Williams, who I spoke about earlier in the podcast. The course I teach, I combine everything I've learned from these gentlemen, and they have different approaches, right? There's more than one way to trade, and so they have different approaches, and I combine those all, and that's the course that I teach. The course is $1,000, but I think it's worth every penny. I think it's worth a lot more than that, frankly. And earlier I talked about having a trading system is more than technical analysis. You have to have all different components to create a plan, and that's what I teach in the course. So if you are interested, reach out to me. You can get a hold of me by email. Email's in the description of this video. You can also send me a message on Twitter, and if you do reach out to me, I'll reply, say, hey, how's it going? Let's do a Skype call. The Skype call is free. It's not a sales call. I will not ask you if you want to take the course. I just want to talk to you, find out more about you and your trading, your goals, your challenges, and then it's a good time for you to ask me questions about the course. And then after we're done, I'll say goodbye. Nice meeting you face to face. Think about it, and if you decide that you do actually want to take the course, you can just get back to me. All right. And then if you could hit the thumbs up button, I would certainly appreciate that. If you find the channel helpful, if you could just take a couple seconds and hit that thumbs up button, it helps build the channel, keeps the channel around, and lets YouTube know that there's something of value at this channel, and helps the algorithm and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so let me go back here. Let's find out where Aaron, okay, so Steve. Okay. So I have Monster here twice. All right, so I have Amazon for Steve. At 3208, 3283.02. Okay, and that is Steve with the 1030 EMA cross. Okay, gotcha, Steve, on that one. Now, Monster is Steve with the Steve at 8109. With the 1050 EMA cross. A lot of different crossovers going. 1030, 1050, some are EMA, some are SMA. So if I don't put these all down here, I will never be able to remember this all. So that's why I kind of take the time to put it up there. Okay, Gary also has Monster. Yas has Monster, even though he doesn't like monsters. I don't either. David is in Monster. And David sold Cody at the Open, I think. Yes, beautiful. All right, so I know David did that. I'm going to take that off. The world famous Cody trade, we'll be talking about that for years to come. Okay, Kamal is out of Coca-Cola. And in Workhorse. Yep, I've got you and Johan in Workhorse. Kamal says CNK survived by 1 penny. Did it? Yeah, buddy. Okay, so still in. Johan sold half a Baba. Was that today that you sold half? And in Monster, where did my Monster go? Johan is in Monster. Frank says 9 wins in a row for Greg on October 9th, which is John Lennon's 80th birthday. Oh, I saw that headline. I remember the day he died, Frank. I remember watching that on TV. You probably did too. Oh, Frank's in Monster half position. Zach says, coincidence? I think not. Well, hopefully I can make it 10 on Tuesday. And then or Monday. And then hopefully Tuesday I can go to 11 in a row. That would be good. Oh, I'm glad Facebook finally did a little something for us there. Johan says, yes, today. Rejected the third ATR channel. Looks like it rejected the 70. Yeah, let's take a little look-see and see if it did. Very close. What is the high there? 302.61. Pretty close. And it did reject. And high high, and technically it's a V1 to the downside. So makes a lot of sense. You've had a great trade on that, Johan. You know, I mean, we don't want to become pigs about it. You know what I mean? I mean, you've got the meat of the move, statistically speaking. I mean, yeah, it might keep going up, but if stocks get to this point 100 times, a huge majority of the time they're going to go down. I hope this doesn't go down, but I think it's good. You know, you're being practical about it. You're being proactive about it, and you're locking in a beautiful gain. I mean, my gosh. I mean, Johan is up. Oh, we talked about that earlier. 7.68. It was up 7.77%, which again, Johan flies 777. So coincidence? Zach, I think not, right? Oh, Gary says, have a great weekend. You too, Gary. Thank you, sir. Miko, thanks, Greg. Have a great weekend. Thank you, Miko. Hope you're doing well. We should catch up sometime. I'd like to know how you're doing. Sid Hunt, Goval, hello. Good to see you. Anyone in Beyond Meat? You know, I was looking at Beyond Meat earlier. I was just noticing this thing's a monster. Speaking of monsters, look at this move. Can somebody tell me why we didn't take the 520 crossover over here? Anybody explain to me what the brilliant thinking of that was at 133? Are you in it, Sid Hunt? Please say yes. How did the oils do today? I think the oils were down, right? Exxon's down 54 cents and CSX or CVX. Yeah. I'll tell you what though, on these oils, I'm going to be looking for, I talked about this yesterday. I didn't want to buy into that because I felt, once we get in the middle of that value zone after this big move, people that bought down here, they're looking for any reason to sell. I'd like to see it come back down. Test that -1 ATR channel, look for a higher low V1 or V2. That would be an excellent trade, an excellent good risk to reward ratio. So how are things doing after hours? Speaking of Exxon, up 6 cents. SPY up 33 cents. It's a good start to the overnight SPY trade. Mr. Monster, unchanged. Big spread. Okay. Coca-Cola is up 2 pennies. Goldman Sachs is up 56 cents. All right. Facebook, come on, baby. Down 2 cents. Kamal says Kamal says I was in at 125. All right. Yes, I am bullish, but I feel like it's extended. Oh, it's extended, all right. It is extended. I mean, we've gone parabolic. We're to 77 RSI, which is good. If you can make it over the 70, Saddam, that's good. But we are extended for sure. Here's the 4th ATR channel. You don't hear me talk a lot about the 4th ATR channel, but you see how we rejected it yesterday? We couldn't get above it today. You see the volume yesterday kind of exceeded. I think there was some selling going in there today, and it was only up 0.81%. I mean, if I was in this trade, I'm not telling you what to do, but I mean, if I was in this trade, I would try to be a little proactive about it, maybe take a little bit off. If you've locked, if you have a nice profit, because we are, let's look over on the weekly. On the weekly, we're at the 3rd ATR channel. That's saying, I'm not saying you have to, take everything off. I'm not saying to do anything actually, but I'm just saying if it were me personally, I would definitely be taking some off. And big day today up, it was only up 0.81%. So it feels a little toppy to me. I agree with you. Johan, thanks Greg and Kamal for the comments. Also everyone for the good session. Have an awesome weekend. You too. You too, Johan. Always nice to have Johan here. And boy, he's turned into quite a great little trader. You know, he's a student of mine, a previous student of mine. And I knew when we started taking the lessons, I'll tell you what, he took to it so quickly, so fast. He asked me such nuanced questions that I was like, you just started trading? I mean, unbelievable. But I'll tell you what, if Johan was a stock, I'd buy him. Brian says, day traded Beyond Meat all week. Oh, did you, Brian? Good. Good. Kamal says, all these stop loss rules. I know, sometimes they work against you, Kamal. Sometimes they work for you. Frank says, Minervini calls it a hard penny market. Yes, I have heard him talk about that. Siddhant says, sure, I'll keep that in mind. Thank you for the insight. Just my opinion, Siddhant. Just trying to be helpful, right? But thank you for coming. Hope you come again. Okay, I think I got everybody on there, right? Got Amazon for Steve. And Glenn's in there. Monster, Steve, Gary, Yas, David, and myself. Thanks for pointing that out, Steve. Monster's not one I follow, and that is a good setup. I mean, you know, just real quick on this Monster, 1050 EMA crossover plus MACD crossover. You know, the way that I'm going to approach this trade, if the price closes below both the 10 and the 50, those are the two moving averages that I use to take the trade. If the price closes below the 10 and the 50, I will get out of half. If the 10 then crosses under the 50, I will get out of the second half. And of course, I'll always have my emergency stop, which is 2 ATRs below my entry, so that if it ever got there, even if it was intraday, I would get out of the trade. And you know, speaking of that, on the Qs, right? I bought here, exact same thing. I bought the Qs with the 520 cross. It went up, took some profits. Then the next day we had that big down bar day when President Trump tweeted, and it closed below both the 5 and the 20. And I got out of half. I mean, obviously I wish I had not got out of half, but I'm glad that I kept half, obviously, right? Because it went back up from that point, 4%. So sometimes it works for you, sometimes against, but this was a bad sign. And so I wanted to be proactive about it and get a little defensive about it. But if it had gone crashing down the next day, obviously, I wish I would have sold it all. However, I would have been glad that I would have sold half here. So the 50-50 rule, I'm telling you, you're rarely ever unhappy with the 50-50 rule if you're being honest about it. Kamal says, have a great weekend, everyone. You too, Kamal. All right, it is a beautiful day here in Utah. Just fantastic. The leaves have turned. The colors in the mountains are amazing. I have my good samba music playlist that I found on YouTube, so I am going to be listening to that and just cruising. You know, it's all in Portuguese, which is kind of interesting. When you listen to music and you don't understand the language, it's really relaxing. I don't know why, because you're not thinking about words because you don't know what they mean. That Portuguese, that's an interesting sounding language, isn't it? Okay, well, you know the drill. Please go out and try to do something nice for somebody today. Just a smile or a wave or a hello, or help them out. Make an effort to help them with something. Just do something nice for somebody every day. And if you could also please try to do nice for something, do something nice for an animal each day. Just take them on a walk or throw the ball, give them a little scratch under the chin, give them a little cuddle. a little love, or just talk to them. They love that, right? So let's do that. So if we could do something nice for a human each day, if we could do something nice for an animal each day, the world would be a whole lot better place. And so have a great weekend. Be good, be safe, study your charts. Steve Burns has his new book out, Moving Averages 101 second edition. It's on Amazon right now. Cruise on over to Amazon, pick that up. It's a fantastic book. It's had a dramatically positive effect on my trading career. And this is the new edition with new charts, a lot more visual things if you're a visual learner like I am. So if you don't have any plans this weekend, get that book on Amazon, Steve Burns, Moving Averages 101, second edition. And if you could hit the thumbs up button before you click out of here, I would appreciate that. And if you could, if you're interested in taking lessons with me, just reach out to me, email or Twitter, and we'll set up that Skype call and say hi to each other, okay? Okay, that's it. I'm glad it's the end of the week. This was a long trading week for me, pretty intense, but it was a good one. So I hope it was good for you as well. And so hopefully we'll see you on Monday. Have a good weekend. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. U.S. government required disclaimer. Stock, options, futures, and forex trading is not appropriate for everyone. While there is a potential for large rewards, there is also a substantial risk of loss associated with trading. The material in this video or live broadcast is not geared towards any particular individual or to any particular financial situation and is not intended to meet the particular investment objectives of any viewer. This video or live broadcast, like all instructional materials produced by Gossett Trading and Mentoring LLC, is created and published for informational and educational purposes only. Any and all information contained in, implied, or referenced by this video or live broadcast is not to be construed as investment advice, and no representation is made that any individual or entity involved in production of this video or live broadcast is an investment or financial advisor or is registered or authorized to give any financial advice. We are publishers and educators only. Therefore, the various producers of this video or live broadcast will not accept liability for any loss or damage of any kind which may arise either directly or indirectly out of the use of any of this material, including any loss of profit. No representation is made that any account or investment will or is likely to achieve the profit or losses demonstrated. We recommend consultation with a licensed and qualified professional before making any investment decision. This video or live broadcast is not to be construed as an offer to buy or sell any security, financial instrument, or financial product of any kind. Notice is hereby given that any individual or entity involved in production of this video or live broadcast or their clients may have an interest in any security, financial instrument, or financial product mentioned or referenced. Any simulated or hypothetical performance result depicted does not represent actual trading and therefore may under or overcompensate for the impact of various market factors such as lack of liquidity. Thank you.